Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Friday, everybody. It is Fresh Cut Friday. Your boy got dialed in last night. Hiring a mobile barber for the guys out there who are listening to this, a mobile barber, it's like the greatest thing ever. My guy Mike out here in Phoenix, if any of you who are in the Valley and you want him to come by, dude, it is phenomenal to have him come by either your office or your house or anything like that. He comes to you. It's just from a time perspective, it's phenomenal, man. And I love it. And he is really good at what he does. But outside of that, you guys, it is Friday, and we are going to be talking about sales strategies for building your book of business up here. But you guys, I do got to point this out right here. If you're watching on the live stream, if you guys want to go to the freightcoach.com, for example, we do this weekly newsletter. Every single Wednesday it drops. I don't really believe in auto signing people up for stuff. I might be naive because people auto sign me up for shit all the time. But if you want to register for that newsletter, you guys go to the freightcoach.com. And then also, if you are watching this on YouTube and you don't know that the audio only version of this replay is available on iTunes and Spotify, we upload that almost just a few hours after the show. Christian from my team does all the post-episode production, and he puts all of that out there, you guys. But, I got to keep reminding people that we are out there on multiple platforms, as we continue to grow and build this brand up into what it is. You guys, I just want to keep dropping those subtle reminders in there that there are things, and we have different types of media that we are putting out there and everything. So, YouTube for me, though, is my favorite platform. YouTube it's been really, really kind to the growth and everything, and really helping out with our exposure on that platform. And also, I've heard that the streaming quality is exponentially better over on YouTube compared to any other site that we go live on. So check it out, you guys, on YouTube. And it's just, just look for the Freight Coach. It's the easiest way. You can find me on all those platforms. And another small piece of advice to anybody out there who is creating content or starting to create content, go out and get the same domain or like whatever your brand is, your business name, get it on all social media platforms right away. It's just easier for you as you grow and scale things out. But we're going to talk about building a book of business. This is something that is always relative. And then especially now with all of this talk of, is the market going to get better? Which, nobody actually knows. I'm going to just throw that out there. And is there, are there positive signs in the market? I think that how you attack this is going to be pretty crucial going into 2025, because like I've said for a very long time, you can't just snap all of a sudden, wake up and be successful, right? Like, contrary to what a lot of people are posting out there on the internet, especially on LinkedIn and Freight, for example, you got to work really fucking hard to get people's business. And say, perfect world scenario, this recession is actually over in the industry. That doesn't mean people are just going to fucking auto set you up because you just happen to call. Like, I think what a lot of people have failed to realize in this build-up phase to when are things going to get better and that they're sitting on the sideline is there are people out there that have not stopped selling throughout all of this, right? So you got to think, you're not just going to all of a sudden just have freight, like you got to work really, really hard for it. And you got to actually know how to sell, read people's conversations and how a lot of this is going, because like I've already made leading up to this show, I've already made 15 cold calls this morning already. And guess what? I got a lot of voicemails. I did get a couple people on the phone and I had really good conversations about them. But since I am very niche specific about why I'm calling, I wasn't a fit for them because I'm not a jack of all trades freight broker. I am very fucking good at a couple of things. And that's what I'm going out there to try and develop that business, because as we're growing and scaling, you got to be able to operate it, right? And I want people to know selling is the easy part. All right. Making these cold calls, that's the easy part. The real work is always going to start when that first bill of lading comes in and comes into your inbox, and you have to actually execute upon that, because that's when you have to deal with traffic, weather. You got to deal with actual shit. And it's not just a simple, hey, we're the best at everything, give us a shot. So with that being said, how do you go out there and do it? And I think I'm going to go back to building a system around how are you going to develop it, because whether you're an independent agent or you've started your own business, or hell, you're working for an established freight broker, if you've taken that route, which a lot of people do, right? A lot of people come into the industry and they go work for a large organization that has phenomenal training. They have systems, they have everything for you to follow. But I'm going to attack this, that you don't have any of that stuff to operate in. Okay. Because that's, also another thing is you're not just Snap a Millionaire. All right. You got to work really, really hard to do this. But again, you have to build a system around what are you going to attack every single day, right? So I think that it is obscene that there's people out there who are like, oh, you got to make 150 dials a day, yada, 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 when you've never made a fucking call in your life before. And that's why I truly believe in the buildup and the discipline of doing these habits every single day, right? I have seen massive success in this in multiple areas of my life, whether it be my health, whether it be some other things that I've overcome over these last couple of years. Is that it is small incremental steps every single day. And that's how I think a lot of people need to attack this. And that's why I am such a firm believer in, if you've never made a sales call before in your life, set an attainable goal that you're going to hit every single day for an extended period of time. So for hypothetical example, we're going to say 5 cold calls in a day. And yes, I understand all of you fucking so-called gurus out there are going to say that's not enough, yada, yada, yada. But what's not consistent, what is not good over time is if you make 100 calls one time and then you fucking rely on that for the next couple of days, that, oh, I made that the other day, so I don't need to do that today. That is where most people miss. All right. And again, this is just coming from somebody who has organically built multiple companies here over these last 4 years that do 7 figures in revenue. Okay. So take that for what it's worth, you guys. But this is exactly what I did in that time frame. I attacked it in small, digestible bumps. Okay. So if you've never done it before, make 5 cold calls. All right. And you got to break it down into this. You have to break it down into, what do you actually say when you talk to people? For me, I just work on that introduction. All right. So you've set that thing. You're going to make 5 cold calls in a day. All right. That's going to be your number. And then it goes back to, what do you actually say on the phone? This is going to sound super simple, but it is as simple as, who are you and why are you calling? All right. So if I'm out there and say you're going to specialize, what's your specialization? What are you going to do? Because, again, out of all the cold calls that I actually make every single day, guess what? It once gets the most attention when I'm out there. Hey, this is why I'm calling. This is all we do. All right. And if they do say LTL, which I don't do LTL. And if you want a good LTL broker, go to my man Gabe at Rocket Shipping. He is fucking the LTL guru out there. That's the guy that you need to go with. But, I do a lot of full truckload. I do a lot of open deck freight. So when I'm calling people, hi, my name is Chris Jolly. I'm calling today because we specialize in open deck and heavy haul transportation. I've noticed that your blank on your website or whatever it is, looks like it might fit that profile. But again, websites are deceiving, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes shit looks really big on there. The dimensions aren't listed. But again, I'm qualifying a lot of these companies as I'm calling them as, is this somebody who I need to follow up with at a later date? Because again, you're going to call people, and just like the majority of the calls that you do, As soon as somebody answers the phone, we're not interested. They're going to hang up, or you're going to get a voicemail. Okay. That is the reality of the first couple of outreaches. Hell, I've called some people 7 times and have got the voicemail 7 times already. But I digress. I'm just preparing you for what it's actually like out there when you're dialing. Okay. So when you do get somebody on the phone, again, what can you get out of that? You need to get a yes out of it, because people are not willingly setting people up right now. So is that a yes, we move our commodity on flatbeds, but we're not adding anybody right now? Boom. That's a win. That goes into my category of a company that I'm going to follow up with. Okay. Now, say you're like Nick Sanders says he's the LTL guru, but same thing when you're going out there. I look for that yes in every single call. And if this is my first week on the phone, I'm going to do that 5 times and then I'm going to stop. All right. And you might say, what else am I supposed to do for the day? What I'm getting at here, and again, 5 is an arbitrary example. You can change that to whatever you want, but it's about building that discipline to doing it that every single day. Okay. Because that's where the real magic happens. That's where you're going to constantly build that habit to do it every single day, because eventually when you call enough people, you guys, you're going to get a book of business. All right. You're going to reach that mark where you're moving freight every single day. And then you're going to start to think, I'm good. All right. It happens to everybody, no matter whether they want to publicly admit it or not. I'm going to tell you the fucking truth, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody goes through that. All right. They hit a certain point in their business, whether it's, moving freight or whatever, where they're like, I'm good. I got revenue coming in. I don't need to go back out there into the scary sales world anymore and continue to make dials. But what you really need to do is build that discipline up every single day to make those dials. My personal number, not cell phone number, but my personal number that I hit every single day is 35 cold calls every single day. And I have been doing that now consistently for about the past 6 months. All right. And again, P&L went up into the right when I started cold calling and doing that every single day from a new opportunities perspective. That is where we found the most success with a lot of it, you guys. And you have to keep dialing. You have to keep following up with this stuff. But again, you guys, you need to build a process and a system to follow. All right. Because again, a lot of us went and worked in somebody else's system, but when you're out on your own, whether you're a freight agent or you're owning your own company, you need to build your own system and process to follow every single day. Okay. And then again, it is over time you attack this inside of that system. And that's where it's going to be, because any one of us can make 100 calls in a day and then not do it for 4 days. But guess what? The motherfucker who shows up every single day making 35, 45, 55, whatever that number is for you, day in and day out, regardless of how much freight you're moving, those are the people who are going to win over time. All right. Because anybody can do it when it's easy. But are you going to do it when you get hung up on, when you get no answers, when you get all of that stuff every single day? That's where this discipline comes in, right? Because like I got hung up on the other day, like 4 times the other day. As soon as I said, hi, my name is Chris Jolly, I'm the founder, click. Guess what? I kind of laughed a little bit, and then I got to my next call and I finished my tasks for the day. Okay. So we can sit here and talk about all of these strategies of what you do at certain levels, but the majority of us don't actually do anything throughout the day. All right. You're not doing stuff consistently. You're not building out that system to follow. All right. Because building a book of business takes a lot of time, you guys. All right. When we first started our brokerage, back in 2023, January of 2023 was the real start date for us. We had 0 customers. All right. 0. We had no customers. We had no freight. All of my old contacts that I had in the industry were like, hey, man, it's great to hear from you. We're not setting you up. We're not setting anybody up right now. Sorry. Okay. So what did I do? I cried, right? No, I didn't. I fucking got to work, you guys. It took us 22 months to hit $1 million in revenue. All right. I'm coming out and I'm saying it right now. It took us 22 months to go from 0 to $1 million in revenue by following this. That's top line. All right. That's not profit. That's none of that. I want to be abundantly clear. That's $1 million in new business. It took us 22 months by following this. All right. We probably could have got there sooner, but for about 15 of those 22 months, we only did fucking email. All right. Cause I bought into that bullshit bug that everybody, I'll automate this and everything. That couldn't be further from the truth. The most effective methods. And again, you guys, it's on my P&L. I have the data to back this up. Cold calling and site visits. All right. You got to get in front of these people. You got to do something different than what everybody else is, because while everybody else is automating AI, this, all that other bullshit, the people who are going to win, it is going to be the ones who are doing what others are not. All right. Everybody wants easy. And again, I'm here to tell you, it takes a very long fucking time, but you need to build a system that you can follow every single day to know that you're getting your work done, because it's always easy to do it when you're winning. All right. When you got a little bit of success, but how are you going to react when that shit stops? All right. And if you build up these habits and this discipline from day one of doing this stuff every single day, in time, you guys, you are going to win. All right. My man, Chris Brewer, says you can't quit. You must keep calling and keep prospecting. The best accounts take long. Those are the customers you want to end with. And that's exactly it. And again, if you're not following Chris Brewer, follow Chris Brewer. Him and his team are building a real business out there. All right. He is doing big things in his company. And that is somebody who I would follow if I were you. If you're looking for somebody else to follow in the industry, follow Chris Brewer. Him and his team are top-notch logistics professionals, and they are doing big things out there. Steve Setka, my man, discipline over everything, baby. Every single day, my man. You know it. Clark, what's up, buddy? Leave your ego at the door. I did not hang up on you. You emailed me. I have it starred. I'm sorry, man. I've been a little busy. I was actually going to reach out to you today after I got my tasks done, because, again, I got to practice what I preach, my guy. But, you know, so as you're going out there and building this stuff out, you guys, again, find that number that you can hit every single day. Because when you're out there and you're building, this might be boring to some of you, all right? But this is the actual stuff that you have to do to build a business, all right? I'm not going to sit and only talk about our successes, all right? I'm going to talk about our failures. I'm going to talk about our pivots. I'm going to talk about doing a lot of this in the systems that we follow. Because again, when you're actually out here, you guys, you have to curate your systems and processes as they go, because you might find something that works once, but if you continue to rely on that and it's not working, you have to make those pivots. You have to make those changes in your business. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck. Because I don't care what the market is. All right. I do not care. Again, we grew what we grew, you guys, in a shitty freight market. All right. Well, everybody else is out there saying there's nothing going on. There's no business. There's plenty of fucking business. People just don't want to work with shitty and subpar providers. And you really have to work really hard to get in the door with some of them. And then again, when I say the selling's the easy part, the execution piece, that's where the real work starts. That's where I'm going to show my real value. It's not going to be when my drivers are showing up on time and delivering on time. You know, want to know when a guy like me really shows my value? When shit hits the fan. Because I don't run, I attack the motherfucking situation as it comes and I deal with it. All right. There's no back and forth. It is much, this is where we are. This is how it's done. Here's a solution to this problem. Let me know what you want to do, because my communication will never fail. All right. As a broker, fundamentally, no matter what, I don't care what bells and whistles of tech you want to throw out there, you guys, if you can't effectively communicate during a transaction, you are dead to your customers. All right. Because at the end of the day, you guys, shippers aren't asking for the tech. All right. Hate to break it to you. Shippers are not asking for the tech. My shippers are not asking for the tech, not in mass. I'm not saying that there aren't some that aren't and that don't require it. But a lot of the people that you're going to work with, you guys, they just want to make sure you actually know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay. So that's why I focus so much on the fundamentals of what I'm doing. And now as my business grows, as we onboard more enterprise level shippers that are moving 100 loads a day and everything else, I'll kind of probably tailor to that and I'll change that. But with where I am right now in my business and what I've personally experienced actually moving freight for the last 14, 15 years, now, you guys, is it's going to fundamentally boil down to, do you actually know what you're talking about? And are you going to overcommit on your capabilities? And that's why I tell so many people to focus on one thing and be undeniably better than everybody else. And now, yes, there are some of you who have been doing this for a very long time, and you can sell multiple modes, right? Like, you can figure it out. But again, if you're going to grow and scale a business, small, like consistent, repeatable processes, that's what's going to help you go from moving your first 10 loads to your first 100 to your first 1,000 to your first million. All right. It's about following those repeatable, scalable processes where everybody can get on board. All right. Because you need to deliver that consistency to your customers day in and day out, shipment in and shipment out. Right. It doesn't matter if you're making $5, 500, or losing 500 on a load. Your customers should never know any difference. They should receive the exact same level of service and communication on every single load. And again, this is just, again, I got to throw this caveat in there. This is just coming from somebody who's actually moving freight and actually building a business. And I want to document, and I have documented a lot of this journey over these years, you guys, because again, as I know, I want to put it out there because there's nothing that I'm doing that's proprietary. What's proprietary is me and my give a fuck level that I will always deliver out there, because this isn't a game to me. This is how I provide for my family. And I take this shit very, very seriously. I think a lot of people, and I see this on social media, and this is just my opinion on this, a lot of people are looking for that silver lining of how is it going to be easier? When's it going to get better? As opposed to creating your own results, because that's ultimately what you need to do. You need to create your own results. You need to formulate a plan, and you need to stick with that plan until you have identified that, you know what, it might not be working, i.e. what I did for the first 15 months and just emailed. It didn't work at all. All right. We had a little bit of success with it, but not a lot. And then we switched over to what actually works in this industry: cold calling, site visits. And that's when shit went up. All right. The last customer that we onboarded, guess what? My business partner showed up, shook the dude's hand, talked to him. Took us about 2 months, but we got our first opportunity from him. All right. All from a site visit. So again, and that's why I think, like, from an exploratory standpoint, you guys, you can find out more in a 1-minute conversation about a company than you can by emailing them for 6 months and not getting a response, right? Like, I would rather call somebody and be like, hey, my name's Chris. You guys moving on a flatbed? Yeah, we do, but we're not setting you up. Click. That's way more effective than emailing them and not knowing if they even fucking do what I do, right? So I think, like, instead of looking for the easy route, the path of least resistance, as most people do, rip the Band-Aid off and get in front of people. All right. Show that you're a real individual. I think that goes a very long way with a lot of people, because, you know, you're going to get a lot of rejection. There are going to be the emotional roller coaster of building a business, you guys, whether you're an independent agent or you're building a business or a book, the emotional roller coaster makes you want to quit literally every single day, if not multiple times a week, or at least weekly. You're like, why the fuck am I doing this? All right. Because there isn't instant results. All right. It takes a very, very long time to build this out. And you have to be committed to following something that you know you are going to do day in and day out, no matter what. Nick Sanders said here, I couldn't agree more. The hardest part when starting off is keeping at it, even if it doesn't feel like it's working. And that's exactly it. That feeling of it, is this even working, is so fucking prevalent. You know, it's like, it is the thing that is on the top of my mind probably daily is this even working? And then I'll hit our monthly review or our biannual or annual numbers, and I'm like, oh shit, it is working. And then the next day comes, I'm like, fuck, what's going on? We got to move more freight. We got to do more. We got to do more. We got to do more. And again, that comes from the habit, you guys, of like holding myself to a higher standard and doing those things every single day, because it's the little things that make the biggest difference out there, right? Like, I think we've all heard the saying, death by 1,000 cuts. Like, very rarely does something go bad based on one major event. It is generally a bunch of little inactions that cause a business to fail, or it's a bunch of little actions that cause a business to succeed, right? Where it's like you go through it enough, you follow that process enough, then you get a little bit better, right? Because everybody sucks when they're making their first couple of calls. I know for a fact every single day, my first couple of calls are generally my weakest compared to calls 30 through 35 when I get somebody on the phone because the confidence is there, right? And that's an everyday thing because guess what? I'm a human. Some days I'm having really good fucking days. Some days I'm not having good days. All right. And that comes across, but you got to shake off the rust, and then you go through it. And again, and I put a post out there the other week about this. Most of the greatest victories that you're going to experience in business, whether it's building a business, a book of business, I'm going to keep it to business on this, is when you look back over the last 6 months or the last 3 months, and you know you did everything in your power to make that shit work. Those are like the greatest gains that will never get any accolades, is when you were terrified to pick up that phone and cold call somebody. And then you started doing it, you said, and then after a while you look back and you're like, damn, I made 150 calls every single week for the last 6 weeks. Fuck yeah, I can do this. I can do anything. Those are the greatest victories in business that will never get a headline or any of that stuff, because it's that belief, it's that discipline, it's the fact that you showed up and did the work every single day when you got told no 99.9% of the time, because that's the reality of it. Don't listen to any of these bullshit posts about how they close everybody and everything else. This is extremely hard. And ironically, a majority of these posts are coming from fucking consultants who are on the sideline. All right. They're not actively out there doing the work. They're trying to tell you what you think you should do. And I'm not saying consultants are all that bad. Some of them are. But again, I learn from people who've actually done the work that they're trying to teach me about. All right. Because otherwise it's just theory. And theory to me does not get you very fucking far in life. I need to learn from somebody who's actually done it and they have a track record of that success of, hey, this is what works. Those are the people that I learn through and learn from the most. But you guys, that's just what I've done. This is just what I've identified to be a successful pattern to build my business into what it has in, frankly, not that long of a time. And we're going to continue to follow this method, and we're going to continue to build this up, you guys. And as I grow and scale, I'm going to continue to tell you guys what's working and what's not, because ultimately I want to see each and every one of you guys succeed. It's going to be based on my results, though, in my business. And I'm going to document this journey, right? Because I want this documented from when I had zero revenue to $1 million, to 10 million, to 100 million, to $1 billion a year. I want all of this shit documented because, I want to see what it was like. I want to be able to look back on some of these times and be like, dude, if you only knew that you were like one phone call away and everything was about to change at that moment. I think it's a cool story to tell. But that's going to be it for today, you guys. I got guests coming on next week, I believe Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Even though it's a holiday week, I'm going to show up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for you guys. But as always, you guys, if you guys got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, you guys. Do your boy a solid. Rank it on iTunes or Spotify. That would be awesome if you could give me a 5-star on there if you think this was worth 5 stars of information. I just appreciate you guys all so much for coming in and supporting this. But have a great weekend. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon. And we